Hello, hello, Rach the Realtor back again, talking with you about all things Kansas City. Today we are going to name the best suburbs in all of the KC metro area. Remember, Kansas City, Missouri is only home to about 480,000 residents. If that is the area of town that interests you the most, I have a video for you. That is the top 5 best neighborhoods in Kansas City, Missouri. However, the rest of the roughly 2.1 million people that call the Kansas City metro area home live in suburbs or rural areas. Of course, it was very difficult to pick the absolute best, so I went ahead and picked one for each direction. We picked the best Northland suburb, the best suburb on the east side of town, the best one down south, and then the best suburb on the west part of town, which is the Kansas side. So we're going to start up north. Our honoree for the best northern suburb of the Kansas City metro is Liberty, Missouri. Like most of the suburbs we are going to talk about today, Liberty was founded in the 1800s. It was first settled in 1822. The population right now in 2021 is only 30,000 people. So it is the smallest suburb on our list today, and in some places you might consider that a small town. I would say in the Kansas City metro area, small towns are areas that people call small towns are typically like, I would say 15,000 or less people. So Liberty is definitely thought of more as a suburb than a small town. The population took off in the 1960s to 1990s. That's true of pretty much every suburb we're going to talk today. But still only 30,000 people. So this is not like a massive, massive area that's really hard to navigate. And the perks of it being on the smaller side is it does have a little bit of the small town feel where you might run into people at the store that you know, and things like that. So Liberty Public Schools are the number 5 best school district in the KC metro area, according to niche.com. A lot of my school data is from niche.com, which is niche.com, or usnews.com. That's where I get data about public schools. So Liberty has a great reputation for their school district. They also have a college in town called William Jewell College. It's a university, full-fledged. They have a really good nursing program, and basically anything you could want to study, you could study right there in Liberty, Missouri. The other great part about Liberty is being up north. It's very close to the airport. So if you are someone that might travel a lot for work, this could be a great place to call home for you, or if you just like to go on vacation a lot, Liberty is excellent for that. But still, it's only about a 23-minute drive to downtown Kansas City. I ran those numbers based on getting to the Power and Light District or T-Mobile Arena. That's kind of a centrally located downtown area. One of the negative sides to living in the Northland is if you were commuting from downtown or from Johnson County or a different part of the city, you kind of have to cross the river to get up there, and those bridges can get really backed up during rush hour or if there's a car accident. So that is one negative to living up north. In Liberty, there are some older homes. There's some historic neighborhoods that are older, but you will see a lot of suburbia. A lot of the neighborhoods are going to have cookie cutter homes, very nice manicured lawns and things like that. Because of the era, those years, the 60s to the 90s is like the boom of suburbs. So you're going to see more planned neighborhoods. In Liberty. Liberty also has a great little shopping area called the Liberty Square, where they have boutiques and coffee shops and things like that. So it's kind of nice that it has that little downtown, small town feel there, even though there are 30,000 people that live in Liberty, Missouri. Homes are relatively affordable for the KC Metro in Liberty. They're a little higher than the Kansas City average. The Kansas City average is about $280,000 this year. Last month, the medium home that sold in Liberty, Missouri sold for right about $330,000 for the medium priced home in Liberty. Again, that depends on neighborhood and all that stuff. So the best Northland suburb in Kansas City goes to Liberty. All right, north, you know what's next. South. The award for the best southern area suburb of Kansas City goes to Lee Summit. So Lee Summit was also homesteaded in the mid 1800s. the railroad runs right through town. So that really helped its growth. The Longview Farm is, you'll hear the word Longview a lot in Lee Summit. There's a college, some roads, some different neighborhoods named after Longview. That's that original farm that was founded by a guy that had a lot of money from being a lumber baron. So that's part of the history. And Longview Farm, that was the farm that he lived on, is on the National Register of Historic Places. So kind of interesting. Population as of today is about 97,000 people living in Lee Summit. Like Liberty, it also boomed in the 60s to 90s. Both of these areas are growing today as well. So Lee Summit, as far as Lee Summit schools go, according to that same website, that niche.com, they are the number 4 best school district in all of the KC Metro. On usnews.com, all 3 Lee Summit public high schools are in the top 30. There are a couple of private schools in Lee Summit as well. So Lee Summit, like Liberty, also has a great downtown area. I would say Lee Summit has much more of a large suburb feel to it. The downtown is robust. It's not like a quaint little cute downtown. It's adorable. And actually my brokerage is in downtown Lee Summit. So that's where I work out of, is my office is in downtown Lee Summit. So I'm partial to it because I'm there every day. Super cute. So many amazing local restaurants and stores. In fact, off the top of my head, I really can't even think of a chain that is in downtown Lee Summit. So it is really nice. It's a huge draw. They are building this outdoor farmers market area that is kind of, they're going to have like a stage where you can have outdoor concerts and things like that. So downtown Lee Summit is a huge draw to Lee Summit. If you like kind of a city feel where you can like walk to a restaurant and, you know, do whatever, walk where it's walkable, but then still small enough that it's manageable, downtown Lee Summit is a great option for that. From Lee Summit, central Lee Summit to downtown Kansas City is about a 26-minute drive. So that is the furthest drive on our list today, but they're all within 5 minutes of each other. So still very doable. Lee Summit, I kind of pulled like who are famous people from each of these cities, and Liberty and Lee Summit were slacking a little bit in their celebs from those areas, but I will give a shout out to Drew Lock, who is the pride of Lee Summit right now. He is a Denver Broncos quarterback. He played for Mizzou, so that's a big name in Lee Summit these days. And funny enough, niche.com has Lee Summit Public Schools as the second best school district for athletes in the entire state of Missouri. I don't know how they rank that, but there you go. Now you know. So houses in Lee Summit vary pretty widely. Lee Summit has a really big geographical footprint, and there are pockets that are older and the houses are a lot more, you know, there's a lot of diversity between houses. You could have like a 2-story next to a ranch, next to a cottage with no garage, and everything in between. And then you definitely have suburbia in Lee Summit as well. But you could have like, if you drive through Lee Summit, there are some really rural areas. So you'll have like a huge suburb, cookie cutter homes for 10 streets back next to a field with cows in it. So, you know, that's actually true in Liberty as well. Lee Summit is, the price for a home is increasing pretty dramatically in Lee Summit. Last month, the median closed price for a house was just over $369,000. So, you know, you're looking at close to $400,000 for just like a standard house in Lee Summit, Missouri. But as I mentioned, there are pockets that have older neighborhoods with more affordable houses as well. So the award for the Southern Best Suburb of Kansas City goes to Lee Summit, Missouri. So North Liberty, South Lee Summit, East Blue Springs, Missouri. Blue Springs, Missouri was also founded in the mid-1800s. Well, actually more towards the late 1800s, in the 1880s. The area that they first settled is called Old Mill Park, and that is still there today. The actual like mill is still there. There's a splash pad there. It's a nice little park off of Woods Chapel Road. The stopping point, the drawing point for the settlers was the Little Blue River. But locals associate the Little Blue River a little more with Independence now because there's a bike trail that starts out in Independence that runs down the Little Blue River. But just a fun fact for you. Blue Springs has about 50,000 residents as of today. And Blue Springs is a little unique here because it does have a little more outdoor areas to enjoy. There's some Jackson County parks, including Blue Springs Lake and Lake Jacoma, where you can boat and kayak and all of that good stuff. And then there's also a lake called Lake Tapawingo that is a residential lake. It is its own city, but it's within Blue Springs as well. Blue Springs, there are some rural areas so if you want some more acreage, some bigger property, there's quite a bit of that to be had in Blue Springs. The Blue Springs schools are also rated highly. This is the number 2 best school district in the KC Metro from Niche.com. US News ranked the high schools a little lower. They had Blue Springs South High School at 14, Blue Springs High School at 19. From Blue Springs to downtown Kansas City is about a 23-minute drive. I will say one major negative to living in Blue Springs, it depends on where you live in Blue Springs, is 7 Highway. So 7 Highway it's just a highway that runs through the biggest commercial area in Blue Springs. So it's just a nightmare during almost all day, but especially in the evenings because there's tons of stoplights, lots of people turning on and off of there. So wherever you live in Blue Springs, that if you're house hunting, I'm a realtor and I would help guide you in this way, but you want to keep an eye out, make sure there's other ways to get to your common stops rather than having to go down 7 Highway every single day to get where you need to go. Blue Springs does have some celebrities. So David Cook was the winner of American Idol in, I think, 2008. And then Blue Springs is also home to a gymnastics gym that produced 2 members of the 2004 Team USA silver medalist team in Athens. And that was Taryn Humphrey and Courtney McCool. So this is when I was a kid and they were They were the coolest. I remember reading about them in Sports Illustrated and watching their interviews on the news. So cool. So those are a few of Blue Springs celebrities. Blue Springs is the most affordable suburb to live in on our list. The median closed home price last month was $265,000. So that's actually a little under the Kansas City Metro average. So if you're looking for a good value, a place to live that is very affordable, but still rates highly in all these other categories, Blue Springs is a good bet for you. So the award for the Eastern, almost said Eastern Jackson County because that is where Blue Springs is, but the Eastern KC Metro suburb goes to Blue Springs. That was supposed to be a drum roll. Yikes. Okay. Last but certainly not least is our western suburb. And when I was kind of planning this video out and naming the suburbs, it's okay, we'll do a north, south, east, and west. But it's weird to even think of this as the west part of Kansas City because it's always just Johnson County. If you're local, it's just called Johnson County, anything west of the city, because it's all on the Kansas side for the most part. There's a little sliver of Kansas City, Missouri that's west of downtown, but for the most part, it is the Johnson County suburbs, and the king of them all is Overland Park, Kansas. Overland Park is the largest suburb of Kansas City, and it is the second largest city in the state of Kansas. The first is Wichita. So it's bigger than Kansas City, Kansas. It's bigger than the state capital, which is Topeka. It is the second largest city in the whole state. The population is about 173,000 people. It was founded later than the other suburbs we've talked about. It was founded after the turn of the century, but did still boom during the peak suburb years of the 60s into the 90s. The population actually quadrupled during that time. So the Blue Valley School District is the school district that Overland Park feeds into. It's primarily Overland Park, but there are a couple of other areas that are in different cities and towns that feed into it as well. Man, this school district wins tons of awards. From the usnews.com, the high schools mark 4 of the top 10. So of the top 10 high schools in all of the metro, Blue Valley has 4 of them. On Niche.com, it is the hands down number 1 best school district in the Kansas City Metro from grade school on up through high school. Overland Park also is home to Johnson County Community College, which is an excellent community college. So people can get an education from K through however far you want to go into community college. Overland Park has Oak Park Mall, which I know malls are kind of a dying thing, but it's still a nice mall. It's well kept, popular with kids in the metro because that's where Build-A-Bear is. And Overland Park also wins lots of national awards. Niche.com had them as the 4th best city to live in the United States recently. So that is pretty cool. Overland Park also got, do you guys watch the show Ozark on Netflix? Overland Park got a shout out on that show, which maybe I should make a video about the Ozarks because a lot people from Kansas City vacation there and have like second homes there. So that's why there was a shout out to Overland Park, because Ruth was like, I was about to try to do it at her accent, but she was like, all these tourists in down there from Overland Park. So there was more colorful language, but I'll save that for, I don't know, not on this YouTube channel. So so Overland Park got a shout out on there. Overland Park also, for some reason, is like a hotbed for comedians. Rob Riggle, Paul Rudd, and Jason Sudeikis are all from Overland Park. They're really involved in the Kansas City like sports scene and charitable causes as well. It's about a 20-minute drive to downtown Kansas City from Overland Park, depending where you are. Like Lee Summit, Overland Park also has a pretty large footprint. The negatives to Overland Park are the traffic. 435 is the highway, the interstate that kind of runs through this area. It can get really backed up. Seems like it's always under construction as well. The taxes are generally higher on the Kansas side than the Missouri side. It's nothing crazy, but if you go back to my video that was about Kansas versus Missouri, you'll learn a little bit more about the difference in taxes between the Kansas side and the Missouri side. And then the cost of housing. So this is by far the most expensive place on our list to buy a house. In Overland Park, in the last month, the median closed price was about $420,000. So the next highest on our list was Lee Summit, which was about $370,000. So that's quite a big difference. So it's a little pricey to buy a house in Overland Park, but there's a reason for it. There's a huge demand to live there. So this is your list of Kansas City's best suburbs. Up north, we have Liberty. Down south, we have Lee Summit. Out east, we have Blue Springs. And then on the Kansas side, for the West Award, goes to Overland Park. Hope this was helpful for you. If you are thinking about a move to Kansas City, I would be honored to help you with your real estate needs, or to connect you with whoever you might need to help you with that process. So go ahead, comment, send me a message, send me an email, and I can't wait to touch base soon. See you next time.